Hello, welcome to a new Rockbot class. Today, we'll continue with databases and look at how to use the SQLite module. Alright, for this, we've chosen an example that's very visual and works well to explain exactly how to use this database. Remember that the default database in Rock, meaning Rock's internal database, is built on SQLite. That's why this module can be used for this kind of concept and these kinds of tests. Alright, so what we're going to do, basically, is we have some variables created and we're going to select the database we want to work with. In this case, we're going to select the Rockabot database, right? Why? Because what I'm basically looking to do is work with this bot I have here. It's called Google, right? This one has, notice, 4 versions, right? So, what I want, this is the latest version, what I want is to work with the previous one. So, in order to navigate or go to the previous version and work with that version, what I'm going to do is search for that information. So, therefore, let's meticulously set up precisely where that particular bot is securely stored, specifically the Google bot, which is currently saved in our default and primary database, which is robot.db. If you have indeed created a brand new database that effectively works as the dedicated Rockbot database, then by all means, use that specific database. In this particular case, I am going to continue to work with the established default database. Therefore, let's validate the connection, and if I run it, we'll see that it executed successfully. So, we validate the execution, and what I'm going to do here is basically use this query, which is to select the ID and created underscore at, that is, when it was created of the bots whose name is Google, right? So I'm going to store that information in Datos. What I'm basically saying here is, bring me the information about when all the bots named Google were created. So I run it, and here I'll have the different bots with their corresponding IDs and when they were created, with their respective time, day, in other words, date and time. So what I want to do is go to, for example, I'm on version 22, but I want to go to version 20, right? So what I'm basically going to do is select the data of the bot that has the name Google and the ID 20, right? Then I'm going to store that information in bot, in the variable. I run it, and what I'm basically going to get is this information. Remember. In other words, what it returns is exactly A. It's encoded in base 64. So, we're going to do the following. What I want to get is exactly this data. Notice that it's in a list, and here there's a dictionary. So, I'm going to get that information, right? So, for that, what I'm going to do is, from the variable bot, at position 0, get bring me what's in data. So, if I run that, automatically in bot it will bring me what was inside that list that was, well, in that list there was a dictionary. Therefore, what I'm going to do is a base 64 dot be a 64 decode of that of that variable. Because remember, as we mentioned earlier, what it's going to return is a base 64 encoding. Therefore, to decode that information and have it returned in JSON format, what we need to do is precisely this conversion of the bot variable from base 64. So, let's run it and save that in JSON_bot. Here I already have the bot's JSON, but it needs to be decoded. Remember the variable manipulation class, where we use the .decode to work with all that information that comes in bits. Therefore, we're going to run JSON_bot.decode and save that information in the same variable. So, here I'll already have the bot's information in JSON format. Therefore, what I'm going to do next is save that information, right? I save that information, for example, on the desktop. Let's go, let's save, let's put Google_rock, right? So, point JSON. Don't forget this. Q. and I save it and add the variable with the information. So when I run it, if I check my desktop where I saved it, I already have it saved here, right? Now, how can I corroborate this information? Alright, this is the bot I've been working on, where I was working with the latest version, and I want to go back to previous versions that I created, because the previous version is more complete than this one, so we can see the difference. So, in any robot, what I'm going to do is select that JSON that was created. It tells me robot is going to change the name to Google. I have no problem with that, so I tell it yes, change to Google. And notice, this robot that I recovered is much more complete than the one from the latest version. Therefore, this way we can navigate between different versions of robots. Alright, I hope this was helpful and I'll see you in the next class.